We're live. Welcome to Gork2000. Welcome to the Technical Difficulties Podcast, also known as the Geek-Inspired Podcast. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. I am honored to be here.
Awesome. And obviously, as always, below us, we have Mr. Tunes.
Dr. Geekoscopy. Very nice to be here. How are you guys doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Very, very well. Very excited. Very nervous as well.
I have to even answer that.
Yeah.
I mean, what happened like freaking a couple of minutes ago?
Hell opened up. And,
yeah.
Hell opened up and began to swallow us all. Look at the light in this room. It's terrible. We're really having a bad day today.
Very orange, orange. Well, let's try and change that by having a good show.
It's the beautiful orange that glows of the blessings of the heavens above.
So, Gork, why did you tell us? Oh, continue.
No. You were saying, sir.
So, no, we've got two globes of sunlight behind us. We've got two suns behind us. The reason being is that these globes are warm. They're supposed to be like warm sunlight, because obviously the sun in summer here goes down really late.
Yeah,
so it's like warm sunlight. But we want to get those like really bright white ones, because this doesn't work anymore. You know, we're content creators. We need to shine bright like a diamond.
Very yellow diamond.
Like Gork is shining bright there, and like Mr. Tunes is shining
crisp,
bright.
clear white light in my room. Yes.
But as Tunes was saying, why don't you tell us a bit about you and who you are and what you do, Gork?
So hi guys, my name is Gork. I'm a variety streamer from South Africa. I have been a geek all my life. I can pretty much say that the geek life chose me. I didn't choose it. As it was forced upon me, you know, it wrapped its arms around me and it just like embraced me tightly and took me in. So I mean, I've been pretty much a geek ever since I was a kid. And as I said, I didn't have much choice in the matter. I grew up with asthma, so physical activities like running around, playing sports and whatnot was highly disadvantageous to my health. And I was basically, reading was my escape from the world, especially fantasy books. And then I basically progressed from there into role playing when I found out that there was a way for me to become a character, a hero, or like one of the heroes in the books that I was reading. I could become like a powerful sorcerer or whatnot, and I could live this out in pen and paper form without having to actually run around and fall over and go to the hospital for another 3 months. It was fantastic. So I started role playing at a very early age. From like about 11.
What are some of your favorite book titles?
Some of my favorite books from my childhood days that I've reread again and again. Terry Pratchett's series, especially about the wizards. I've read that a couple of times. Raymond E. Feist's Wizard's Wars. I've read that a couple of times. David Eddings.
Saga.
Yes, the Rift War Saga. Thank you very much. I call it the Wizard War because of Buck the Wizard.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, you've got the mages from what is it called? I just recently finished the book. The Magician.
Well, but I can't remember all the names and things because it has been a while since I've read it. But I know exactly what you're talking about. There's those super mages that they're like just wiping. There we go. And also David Eddings, the Malorian and the Belgariad that I love, and the Sparhawk series. Then David Gemmell. David Gemmell is like the quintessential boy porn book, or fantasy book of Druss the Legend. I mean, it's Conan the Barbarian, but way cooler. And it's all about being a big and manly and strong, and he's swinging his double-headed axe left, right, and center, and people are dying, and he's almost unkillable. I mean, he was so strong and awesome, and raging. So those were some of my favorite books to read. These days, I am reading I'm heavy into the 40K series of books, the Warhammer 40K's universe. My favorite being the Gaunt's Ghosts novels. And I'm currently busy with the 15th book of the series. The 15th, and I believe,
Which
the
series?
last book in the series. Gaunt's Ghosts by Dan Abnett.
Oh,
Yes.
I've been reading the hard copy.
So yeah, I mean the last book was released last year, end of last year. So I saw it recently in the bookstore, got it for myself, and yeah, now we're reading it, and it's tense. It's super tense. I mean,
As
I'm
long as it's
gripping the book by the covers, like as I'm reading, and like shaking, like no, what are you doing to my favorite characters? What are you doing? Stop it! So yeah, that's where I am.
You're being abused by the
I don't
author.
know if you read the Horus Heresy. It's taken a long time. And the first book I read was the First Heretic.
Yeah.
And
The First Heretic was brilliant.
you know what? It took so long to get to the point, though, dude. That was what I had an issue with. Excuse her. I don't know what
She's
doing
tasting,
today.
doing the tastings.
She's being a Krabby from Pokemon.
But you know what? The First Heretic actually took a very long time to get to the point. Like that about the book. It had an intriguing story. Don't get me wrong; it had a very intriguing story, but it took so long to get to the point. I was like, okay, you know what? You could have gotten to this point a hell of a lot faster, and not with such a roundabout way of explaining things. And it would have been
called the space opera if they did.
Yeah, well, you know, that's the whole thing. It was like I was expecting it to be more like, like something like The Magician, where it builds and it builds. You know, like Remedy Fast knows how to build onto his stories and make you want to keep reading. But
yes.
This guy, I could stop for weeks and not read the book and come back and go, oh yes, I remember what was happening. I got so bored watching this or reading this.
What's the author again? I can't remember even who the author was.
It was David
Just have a
Bowden
look.
or something?
Because unfortunately, the Horus Heresy is written by so many different authors. So you've got many different voices interpreting the characters and giving voice to situations and stuff. I mean, I love Dan Abnett as a writer. He's one of my utmost favorites. But one of my favorite book in the series was written by Graham McNeil. And what is it called? There it is, 1,000 Suns. I just quickly saw it on Google. Yay. Yes, 1,000 Suns. It's my favorite book in the entire series. I love that book. I mean, I've read it 3 freaking times, right? And the follow-up on that story was written by Dan Abnett. So the 1,000 Suns was written of the 1,000 Suns, and the follow-up book was of the Space Wolves, who went and wiped out the 1,000 Suns, on their home planet. But I hated that book, Prospero Burns. I absolutely freaking hated it. It wasn't like how Dan Abnett writes normally. It was so different to his normal writing styles, and when you've come to learn and expect from him. So I didn't enjoy that book. I didn't enjoy that viewpoint or the story. It made no sense to me. It was stupid. And then later on, it's like, oh, this is actually what really happened. Okay, now I understand better what actually happened in Dan Abnett's book and in Prospero Burns.
Yeah, so he just killed off the 1,000 Suns just because.
Yeah, because asshole demons and stuff, and the horrors being an ass.
Demons. That's all you can say. Agreed.
I don't want to spoil it because the book is really fucking great, but I don't want to spoil it. To give away the major storyline as to why they were sanctioned to be killed off. Such a great story.
No spoilers.
Yeah.
But getting back to you, Gork.
Yes. Getting back to me.
How did you come by your name, your tag?
So my name. So while I was, getting into role playing, I discovered the TKV, or of the University of Pretoria, also known as the Tuks Krijgspelvereniging, the Tuks Wargaming Society. Right, so most of the guys that I role played with were already at varsity level. They were friends of friends who took us under. Me and a couple of my friends, my young friends, 12-year-old us, role playing together with the big boys. Do you think my super Christian mom was impressed with that? No,
Oh,
you had to
yeah.
come and sit in on the sessions to make sure that we're not up to devilry. But one thing led to another. We saw them playing war games, tabletop war games, and we were like, "Wow, what is this?" And like, this is a dwarf army, and this guy is an elf army, and there's undead. So what is going on here? So they explained to us this is like Warhammer tabletop wargaming, and there are many different factions to choose from, and so on and so forth. So me and my friends, we banded together, we pooled our monies together, we bought ourselves each small armies to play with. So the very first army I bought, let me just put this out there, were dwarves. I had a very small contingency of dwarves, with a lord, a couple of warriors, some thunderers. Good. Then the local gaming store in Pretoria, there were only two at that point in time where you could buy Games Workshop products. The one was called Brooklyn Books and Comics. The other was called Future Fantasy. So Brooklyn Books and Comics I could go to because it was in Brooklyn. Nice area, great stuff. But they had a very limited amount of Warhammer stuff there. Whereas the Future Fantasy shop, was in Midtown in the tram shed, which my parents did not like to go to at all. In fact, none of our parents did. So we didn't go there to buy stuff, but they had the bigger stock selection. Anywho, getting back to my story, I was basically forced to buy whatever they had in stock at Brooklyn Books and Comics, so after my first buy, I went back and went, I want to buy more dwarves, and we're out of dwarves. What we do have is orcs. I'm like, okay. So I started collecting an orc army as a second army, started painting them, but I built up a 1,500 point army. So lovingly painted them, getting ready, showed off to the people at the TKV, and they're like, great, so now you got to play. We have to learn how to play this game. So great. Took my army along. Who am I going to play against? One of my friends who are also new to the game? Like, no, you're going to play against this guy with his Skaven army. Oh, by the way, he's well known as a veteran of the tabletop game. He's won a couple of tournaments, so no pressure. He'll take you, Anywho, so to make a long story short, my Savage Orc army ran over his Skaven army. They basically butchered the Skaven in 2 turns entirely and sent his lord rooting. From that day forward, I was known as Gork, because my army was very savage, very brutal, yet cunning. And that's where the name comes from. Gork is one of the 2 orc gods in the Warhammer Fantasy universe. You've got Gork and Mork. And Mork is more cunning yet brutal. So he's more of a goblin-esque god, whereas, my army type that I played was very much Gorky. Smashing my way straight through the front lines into the back ranks, just mincing everything to death. And so they decided to give me the nickname Gork, and it stuck since the age of 14.
Yeah, I forgot what the question was because that story was quite intriguing.
It was quite a long, intriguing story indeed.
But it's interesting.
That's how I.
Yeah. Gork is a storyteller. You can see he is a storyteller.
I am a storyteller because with role playing and long, you learn a few things. When you start to GM, you have to become more creative. You have to step outside of your shell and take on different personas at different times to become entertaining and to make the game interesting for your players. So I have to give you guys also I wasn't the guy I am today when I was back in school. I was a very black and white kind of guy. It was either right or wrong, and I was deadpan. People would be worried about my happiness because I had no expression. And role playing brought me out of my shell.
That would literally, if you said, okay, I'm going to go left, no, but you should go right. No, but I want to go left. But you should go right.
I wouldn't argue. I would just do. I'm like, no, we go right. No, left is better. I walk. You understand? In high school, I had a second nickname called Lurch. Because of the way I would walk and talk. Literally how's it going? Good. Happy. And that was what I was in high school.
Interesting. So you mentioned role-playing games. What are your favorite systems or tabletop board games?
Well, tabletop board game is my favorite system. The one that I have used the most over the years is the Pokifulu system. that I kind of like took and made it my own. It's a very simplistic system. It's meant to be used for once-off games. But I took it, like I brought in character classes, I chopped and changed it. So it's basically my own little ad hoc system. That's the one that I've used the most over the years. But as for character design and character building, the Warhammer Fantasy system of 2nd edition, that is, wow, beautiful. As for playing a seamless game with quick combats and great narrative storylines, the Death Watch system is brilliant for that. Absolutely fantastic. I mean, the party is a bunch of Space Marines. They're brutally efficient at killing. Combat rarely lasts longer than two rounds. Brilliant. I love my D&D and I love my Pathfinder. I mean, I grew up playing D&D and well, first D&D 3, then 3.5, and then over to Pathfinder over, 15 years, 16 years probably. So I'm very well versed in the universe of Faerun and the Planescape universe and the City of Gates and stuff like that. You know, that's yeah. I played in a couple of campaigns that each lasted 4 or 5 years. So I have a deep rooted love for the D&D universe. I have a map of Faerun framed and put up in our lounge.
Is it? That's cool.
That's how much I love the universe.
That's cool.
I mean, it's so awesome to read the Drizzt books, by R.A. Salvatore, and to be able to go, oh, look, there they are, and there they are.
If you have a map of the whole of Faerun, like not just the
entirety of Faerun.
Are you not like disappointed? Because I saw like on Twitter this picture of this guy is like, all right, they have this whole world, but all like the adventures are set on the Sword Coast, which is like a tiny thing.
I know. Like all the games, everything is just right there. This is here. Here's Lusk, here's Baldur's Gate, here's Neverwinter. They're all this little group together. But it was wonderful because I had excuse me?
What was that?
Dragon Age and Icewind Dale. I mean, Icewind Dale is way outside of the Sword Coast. But Dragon Age
Icewind Dale was all the way up to the north. It's also like a couple of the Drizzt books takes place there.
But none of the recent adventures I've touched.
The things I had my GM that I had from a young age was very well versed in the rest of the Faerun. Now he had like all the Forgotten Realms books, the story books and stuff. So he was like very well versed with the rest of the Forgotten Realms. So I've got like a big background knowledge of the Dale lands, for example, and the Southlands. I mean, I think 5th Ed takes place also on the southern end of the continent, with the lizards and stuff and the dinosaurs. That's like where the 5th Ed main setting is. But I was like up north, so I can go back and go, we were here, we were the Ring of the Grey Flame, the Tower of whatnot, and that's awesome for me to be able to see and recognize these places all over the show. And I was I walked one day not too long ago into a secondhand bookstore, browsing for books, and this guy at the secondhand bookstore had like 7 3.5 books in immaculate condition for sale. And one of the books that was there was the Faerun source book. And within the Faerun source book was this map of Faerun that had never been opened. I mean, the thing crackled as you the sound it makes is beautiful. And the smell, it's so fantastic. And you look at this map, and I went, cool, I'm going to frame this. This thing needs to be framed. Yeah. And that's that.
That's pretty awesome, yeah.
So I know when I was on your channel, I obviously redeemed your mac and cheese points and stuff like that, and you posted it, and it was absolutely mouth-wateringly looking delicious. And then I went onto your Facebook and I saw all your other creations that you've made, and it looks really good. So how did your amazing cooking skills come about? And also, have you ever considered doing a cooking stream so that you can show off your skills?
Before you answer that though, I have to say, when you come up here to come visit us here in Scotland,
yes,
you're doing You're doing all the cooking.
By all means, I would love to do that for you guys. I would absolutely love to show off.
Chef
I've done it a couple of times with two of my friends in Cape Town, where I would go down and go, "Cool guys, I'm here. You know, this is my wife. I'm backing down. The kitchen is mine. Stay out."
Yeah, we'll buy the food. Don't worry.
Just tell us what you need.
You'll cut here if you have to try and find food here. So we'll buy the food.
I will give you the ingredients list. Don't worry. But my love of food was born from my grandmother.
Oh my God. I looked at some of that stuff, dude. My mouth was watering just to get the pictures. So you're definitely
my love for good food and good cooking started with my grandmother at a very young age. I would help her out in the kitchen by being a spice mixer or spice adder to the dishes. I would learn the very basics of basics, and then I would help her with the spices and to make it taste nice. And then in the high school, we finally got DSTV and BBC Food, or the cooking channel back then, and it was Ainsley Elliott and Jamie Oliver, and so my love for food even got greater there. Then I started experimenting in the kitchens by watching, emulating recipes I saw on TV, and then I would go on the net and find the actual recipes, make them again, and so on and so forth. But over the years, I did learn new skills from television, from different cookbooks. I've got about 30 cookbooks here in the house that I use regularly. I've got a couple that these are my Bibles. I live by them, as for cooking. Some of them are basic foundation books that I call them. They give you the basic foundations of cooking. Fantastic 2 or 3 of them. And then there's like my 2 Italian books, my 1 Chinese book, my Muse's book. Yes, I have a Muse. I discovered her in 2016 while looking for a salmon recipe online. Her blog is called Once Upon a Chef because she is, she was a chef at one point in time in her life, a professional Michelin star chef. And then she decided to become a house mom and to make a blog about cooking. So ever since I got into her website, and my passion for cooking has really gone through the roof. The techniques she teaches you is way more complex than anything I've ever encountered. But what she does is she takes the everyday simple dish, like a bolognese or what else? Chicken pie. Right? She takes that simple dish, something I can close my eyes and go auto mechanical mode and make it. But she takes that dish and reinvents it a little bit with 2 or 3 extra ingredients. So she uplifts it. Just there. Right, and that difference, it makes such a huge impact on a person. I mean, I would make her dishes to my parents. My parents would be like, "Where did you learn to cook like this? How did this come to be? How are you so good now?" I'm like, it's little things, little things. But through her, I went deep into gastronomy and started really looking up how to properly treat meat, how to do marinades, sauces on the side. Man, French sauces are amazing if you can do it right. But it takes time and patience. And then you learn about like the great restaurants in the world, what they do. Oh, they would have a sauce pot going for 2 days before they allow anyone to taste the sauce. And this is what they would put on their chicken or their beef. And you're like, what? That's insane. I want to be done in an hour and a half. That's
most.
Like, whoa.
Have you ever thought of making your own recipes?
I do have my own recipes. I have a series.
That's yours.
I do. I have a cooking box, as a recipe box here at home, that whenever I reinvent a recipe or I totally make it my own, then I finally, would write it down in a box. But it takes about 3 to 4 iterations of the dish for me to be content and happy with how it is. I'm my biggest critic when it comes to cooking. Definitely my biggest critic. My wife can definitely also tell you this. But she's also, my bar for, is this good? Is this as good as this? Or where does it lie? She's my meter sticker when it comes to good food. I think she is on watching the stream as well, but poor her, she's also working her bum off, stressing hard from all the, Ever since she started working from home, she's got more work than ever.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult to like differentiate like work from home when you start working from home, and your boundaries kind of dissolve.
Yes, that is so.
Have you considered doing like a dungeon feast stream, like Gork's Kitchen or something?
Oh man, that would be awesome to do. I would love to be able to do something like that one day.
Do it.
But I need a lot more cameras for one to set up in the kitchen, and yeah, like I said, we are busy moving house now, and getting finding a new house where we can have a gaming room, a gaming dungeon room. Yes, finally, properly good. You know, instead of like these beautiful bland curtains you see behind me, these white, cupboards, there will be racks of books and board games and all the cool stuff I ever wanted. Maybe even a board game table, if I can cough up 20-something thousand rand. I don't know.
Yeah, those things are expensive.
I did ask around about having one made, and the quotes I got were exorbitant.
Yeah. I got a friend who made one, and it was like massive. Yeah, it cost him 50,000 to do, and it was like there was like pulleys and like drawers, things that opened.
Really,
it was hectic. It was actually like too big. Like it took over his entire garage.
Yeah.
Like if you had to like sit across the other person, you would go like 2 meters away from them, and like you have to like look over to see it. It was something else. It was something else. But sure, it's a pretty penny.
What else I can tell you guys? What about my role playing? Oh yeah, I have been running a role playing game now for 4.5 years. A Deathwatch campaign, incidentally. We try to do it about twice a month, but we've been, once a month is the average, because life, adulthood makes for difficult role-playing opportunities.
Indeed.
And that is my experience of it. And well, since lockdown happened, we haven't gotten together for a single session yet. And I only had my very first online experience with Ms. Janas.
That was your first.
Yes, that was fun on Saturday. We'll be sure.
I'm glad you had fun.
First online
I'm so glad that was a good experience and a good, learning experience for me to see how an online session can be run. It's very interesting and very exciting. I'm like really keen to start up an online session myself. But more than that, I am planning a role-playing stream starting hopefully very, very soon. I'm just working out the kinks of it, because something that I love in role-playing is character creation, but not only just creating a character with stats and abilities and skills and equipment, but like really a character, a personality, somebody, a person, because it's really fun to, when you start out role-playing, you kind of like role-play a version of yourself. Or normally it's like you just play yourself, but as a caster, for example, or as a fighter. And then through the years, you start developing personalities for your characters. But they're always an extension of who you are, I found. So my goal would be to teach people how to fully flesh out and develop a character for role-playing games. That's what I'm passionate about. I've run a couple of modules over the years.
Do you have like a kind of formula that you use to...
Yes. That is what I'm currently working on. The problem is taking it all that's up here and putting it down on paper.
Yeah.
Suddenly, when I put it down on paper, it becomes an intricate mind map of this, and variables. And, it's like, wow, now it's overly complicated. I need a system that is very fun, very easy. So I'm hashing out the kinks on that one. I want it to be quick, straightforward, easy, a solid, workable guideline for creating an intricate character that people can take their this. Great, these are the traits, personality, characteristics, negatives, positives, and go. And from there, they can really build and fill in the blanks and paint their own picture, I can say. Because, isn't
that exactly what you want, though? You want that from a character, you want to be able to create a character that is basically you, but you can also connect with that exact character. You want that character to be you in the same world or in a different world. And if that character dies, you've got to be heartbroken that character dies, because
precisely. It must be a heart and soul-wrenching experience when he dies.
must feel like you've lost a piece of yourself if that character dies, because that's feeling truly like you've actually done something in game, and that's what I like about playing games like back in the day, Baldur's Gate and things like that, where you can actually literally flesh out a character right down to its story arc, and then when that character died, you're like,
you know, in Planescape Torment, how absolutely devastated I was in 3 of the character story arcs. I was like, oh, no, you bamboozled me. How could you take my trust and turn it against me? How could you bite the hand that was lovingly feeding you?
Yeah, it's like
I love a role-playing game like that. I mean, it's fantastic when it happens.
Okay.
Yeah, Torment, the
Planescape Torment, when you're playing the nameless one.
Yeah, the new one. There's another one that came out on PS4.
Before you say that, Kiko Calderi is in chat, and they say that I've gotten so attached to characters. I have some from the mid-90s. I just won't stop playing.
That is
I agree with that person. I agree with Kiko. I absolutely have a couple of characters that I've drawn up that I would love to play again, because they're just such fantastically fun characters. I have a couple of go-tos. If I need to sit in on a session, I would totally go, cool, I've got this guy. He can walk into this world and setting. He's perfect for it. And I have a couple of NPCs that I've drawn up over the years that are go-to NPCs for me to use in random encounters. And there's a couple of villains I've even drawn up over the years that I've really fallen in love with, because they just happen to walk in on the game at the wrong place and time, and they became villains. They weren't even meant to be there, but they happened because my players went, like players. All the best laid plans of mice and men, in the world are totally thrown out the window once you encounter a player party.
It's like Captain Price from the Call of Duty series. He's the villain, the bad guy, the good guy, the protagonist, the antagonist, the upside down man, the tortured, the murdered, the vengeance. He is everything.
He is everything.
So I don't know how to say that name.
Malika.
There's when I lost my first ever D&D character, I was actually super quiet because I was broken mentally. I was like, no, in my mind. I had to actually take a break for a session.
It does happen. I still remember fondly my very first D&D character that I drew up. He was a druid who had a Harida as a familiar. His animal companion was a Harida. And my Harida went up in a ball of flame when he attacked a fire elemental. I was a young, stupid teen. What the hell did I know? I thought like things could be attacked, like in Baldur's Gate the game. Why not? And Marita went. I was devastated. My soul was ripped. I mean, my normally expressionless behavior and face totally fell. I was like, no, my Harida.
You don't have much experience playing 5th Ed, right?
None, really none.
The thing with
the first 5th Ed game I played was like with you.
Yeah, 5th Ed is like, it's actually very difficult to for the players to die. Like, I've never had any of my players die in my campaigns.
Yeah.
And the thing is there were moments so many times where they could have died, but the game is so built around potentially bringing them back from unconscious. So I don't actually have that much of an experience being a more recent role player of actually losing characters or players, which is kind of sad. I think I'm missing a part of role playing. But what are some of your favorite parts about role playing games that you enjoy?
The part that I enjoy the most right now where I am is to be able to step outside of myself and to become another person, become something that I'm not. Whether it is an absolutely megalomaniacal murder machine, but with a good heart and a good cause, Sorry. Or if it's a misguided but opportunistic sorcerer who wants to tell the world that certain things about spellcasting and magic is not wrong. For example, necromancy. It's not wrong. It can be put to good use, especially in the farms, in the outlying world. Why should Grandpa be rotting away in a grave when he could be tilling the fields all night long? Why? Think of the opportunities. Think of the great things that can be done when your family members still worked for you. And this lineage can be passed on to your sons, and you would be able to work for them, and thereby grow a massive legacy, a massive fortune for your family to be well off. I think necromancy is the right choice.
Necromancy, we want you.
I like that too.
So, that's one of my favorite characters that I've ever rolled up. It's like just totally chaotic. Yes, it's all the halfling sorcerer. And he just wanted to make friends and spread the good word of necromancy. So, it's nice to be able to become something that I'm not. It's really awesome. And like I said, I love drawing up a character that is a challenge to play, skill-wise, feat-wise, ability-wise. It's easy for me to draw up a munchkin character, a min-max monster, something that will walk into a room and go, fight's over. I just absolutely godly obliterated whatever was in this 60-foot area. I'm done. Moving along, next area. Big bad is dead.
In other words, you
it's
cast
easy
fireball.
to draw up. Yes. Not well. I kind of walk in and go time stop, and I take the next 7 actions. Things are gonna die.
I'm guessing you like
many
to play
situations,
spellcasters.
many characters that can be broken like that.
I'm guessing you like to play spellcasters.
I don't necessarily like to play spellcasters. I have a love for them, like psionics, clerics. They're fun to play. But I've also in Pathfinder found that there are other classes that are minimalistic spells capabilities that are just as fun to play, like Inquisitor. There you're playing much more a detective role, and your spellcasting is on the slide. It's like a very sleight of hand type of little things, like Jedi mind tricks, get people to confess to you their deepest secrets. Yeah. That's another fantastic type of role-playing game to have. Like I said, I've also played in a Deathwatch game myself with another, a party of people, where I was actually a player, and I had no spellcasting capabilities. But whatever else my character had, I could use his skills, his leadership, his commands. Now that's really fun. It's really challenging to play different type of characters. Like I said, I love to go, cool, let me drop a character for this game, but I'm not going to pick my feats, my skills, my whatever I'm focusing on. I'm drawing up a random character. So let's quickly look at what I need to do to draw up the character, take some dice and roll. And I will roll literally for everything that I do. And that's what I also enjoy about role-playing. It's the fact that you can actually draw up a random character that is still fun to play and effective at what he's supposed to do. It's a different way and style of role-playing. But when I, as a GM, have to draw up a villain, I go in... I love drawing up villains as a GM. I really do. That's another facet of role-playing that I love. It's that freedom of, now I'm going to create a villain like I would want to create a villain, or a different type of villain, depending on the situation that is needed. It is fun to have a big bad, a big antagonist. He's declared to the world his intentions of world domination, and the party knows him as well. This is the big bad. But it's also fantastic to have an antagonist walk along side by side of the party, learning about them, getting to know them, observing their combat tactics, their spellcasting, their whatever. And then when the right time comes, he steps forth and goes, "Oh, sorry, the person you're looking for is me." The 3 characters are down. Next up. So that is another facet of role-playing that I love. I love the ability to be able to create different characters for different situations and different places, and be able to tell their stories. Like I said, I have written a couple of modules or conventions over the past few years, well, past couple of years. The most famous games or modules that I've written is the trilogy called the SA Bestes, which is about a South African superhero group who have to save the world. And they're this ragtag odd bunch, of superheroes that nobody has ever heard of. They're only famous in South Africa for what they've done. But it's up to them to save the world because the other superheroes are indisposed. So I wrote like 3 modules on that, and that was like a lot of fun. And I wrote the one module as a tongue-in-cheek module, and it was so successful that I was asked to write a second, follow-up and then a third module for that. So yeah, that was a lot of fun.
So having been connected to orcs for quite a long years, quite a long time over the years, what are your favorite orcs from fiction? Like top 5
from fiction. I can't give you like a top 5
okay.
Exactly. I can give you a couple of. Wait. Do you want like legendary lords type thing? Characters,
just
famous characters.
Orcs,
cool.
Yeah.
Right. So from the Warhammer Fantasy universe, because that's where I learned my love of orcs. You would have right at the very top, Grom the Paunch of Misty Mountain, the biggest goblin that ever lived. He's this goblin that ate troll meat, that didn't, properly digest in his stomach, and he started growing, and building, and extending. And now he's this huge goblin. He's the size of a river troll, right? He's larger than a black orc in stature. He drives around in a chariot. He's got a massive axe. He's just fantastic. He just goes all over the show, beating the crap out of people, and then throwing massive feasts and eating himself silly until he feels that it is time to go on another conquest again. Then after him, I will have to say it's Zag, the mad prophet of Gork and Ork. He's the savage orc shaman from the Southlands, and he's had way too much sun. And he has a magical mask. Yes, and he's mad as a hatter. And it is his goal in life to find the prophet of Gork, well, the effigy of Gork, basically. The king, the champion of champions, the one that will take the greenskins all over the world with a massive war. And so he basically joins up with different clans and goes along for the ride until the clan is obliterated in combat, and then he goes and sets himself someone else. But it matters a hatter. Love him. Great character.
A bit indecisive.
Excuse me?
A bit indecisive then.
Yeah, he is a bit indecisive. He really can't, put his finger on which is the right prophet, who is supposed to be the right prophet.
Yeah.
I have to give a shout out to Grimgor Ironhide, the baller himself. Storyline wise, he is unconquerable in combat. He's a mean machine. He's a monster. Once he hits the floor in an open combat field, he inspires orcs to such great heights that they will perform feats of strength and combat abilities far beyond their normal means. There are accounts of orcs being beheaded in combat and still fighting on just because he's close by. That's how inspirational this monster of a leader is. And in the end time storyline, he basically walks over to Archaon the Black, the big bad of the Warhammer Fantasy, the bringer of the end times, and he kicks him solidly in the groin before obliterating him. And then turning around going, "Oh, I thought this was going to be a fight." And he stops off looking for someone else to fight. Someone worthy of a challenge. I mean, it's like what just happened? You've had like a series of books explaining how badass Archaon is, how he obliterates the men and the legends of the Empire, one after the other. When he defeated the Grand Theogenist in one-on-one combat. I mean, the Grand Theogenist is the herald of Sigmar. I mean, he's the blessed champion filled with holy light and honor. Whap, dead. Goodbye. But yeah, so Archaon they bowled him up, and then Grimgor comes in and donkey punches him to death, essentially. It's like what just happened?
True, dude. He donkey punches him, dude. That's so
That's exactly what happened. Because I was just like, "Pop, fuck off." Next.
Jeez. Okay, that conversation went south fast.
So yeah, those have to be some of my favorite orcs in literature and fiction. I can't really say much about the other orcs. I mean, there aren't so many orcs in the Lord of the Rings fiction that I can name, except for Lurtz, because I played a card game and I know Lurtz. He was like a general to Uruk-hai. But there aren't really other that I can, even from World of Warcraft, I actually don't know the universe that well. Sorry.
But he wasn't really going back to Lord of the Rings. I think it was Lurch. He said he wasn't really an orc though. He was an Uruk-hai.
Yes, he was an Uruk-hai. Like I said, if we have to come to like Lord of the Rings famous characters, bad guys, I would go with Lurtz. Kind of like him. He did peg Boromir to a tree.
Close enough though.
He managed to peg. No, he pegged Boromir with a lot of arrows. He actually pegged Aragorn to a tree with a shield.
Oh, that's right. You're right. Oh my word!
He was an Uruk-hai though. He wasn't actually an orc.
An orc, yeah.
The Uruk-hai are very different from orcs because the Uruk-hai are mixed with humans. So they're like orc and human, making them like superior to the orcs. Essentially,
they are the half-orc mad babies of Sauron himself. Yes.
I think they're actually elves. Like aren't they?
Yes. Well, originally orcs were elves, but they were deformed, and that's how they became
corrupted.
That's how they actually became orcs.
So I can also tell you more. Yes.
If you didn't have orcs as a favorite race to choose, who would you choose? Like, you're not allowed to say orc.
Dwarves.
What would be like your second favorite?
Dwarves. They're in my heart and soul. Deep down, I'm stubborn as a dwarf, and I can hold a grudge for a very long time.
Dwarves. Full what he's going to go for dwarves.
You can hold your beer as well.
I don't know. Say.
Zerak Yuki.
Thrall,
Grom, Hellscream, Gul'dan, and Garrosh are some good names from Warcraft for orcs.
There you go.
Yes, those are indeed. I recognize
all those
some
names.
of the names.
Troll,
and Grom.
Okay, granted, he was like the protagonist of the orc campaign in Warcraft 3, but he was still a pretty epic orc, though. Even if you were the protagonist, he'd be a pretty epic orc.
Yeah, all round, it was a good orc. Yes.
Yeah.
I prefer to play with him. But also, I like Grom more than I like Thrall. I've
always preferred Thrall over Grom. Grom's cool, but he's nowhere near as good as Thrall. I've always liked Thrall.
Yeah, I prefer Thrall.
What else can I tell you guys? If I quickly have to think about my past and where I've been and what I've done in terms of geekhood, I definitely come across as a very competitive geek. I played chess professionally for 15 years.
On that note,
I got my SA colors for chess when I was at school. I also coached under 14 and under 16 SA teams for the world champs back then. My sister is she was 4 years running the SA women's champion of South Africa. She's also got like a women's FIDE title. So yeah, chess was the one sport I could play an entire game of chess through without falling over and going to hospital with an asthma attack. I mean, that was fantastic. What a way. I think I found my sport, parents. I will become good at this one.
The original esport.
The original
esport, chess.
OG. Yes, the OG freaking World of Warcraft, to be honest.
Probably. Yeah.
And also, being like drawn into role playing and wargaming, that I was also drawn into card gaming. starting off with Magic the Gathering, but I was told very harshly by my parents, no Magic the Gathering. None.
Yeah, it's
No.
It's expensive.
What is your favorite card game?
My favorite card game that I still love to play to this day is Vampire: The Eternal Struggle.
Interesting.
Oh, dude, I always wanted to play that game.
It is a fantastic, beautiful, complex game of politics and it's politics and deception and making deals, and it's really fantastic to play. It had a very small community in South Africa that played. These days there's actually a major following, and with the new 5th edition rules coming out, game is resurging. It's coming back in full force.
Nice.
After that would have been Legend of the Five Rings.
Something
I played with. Yes, I loved Legend of the Five Rings. It was such a beautiful system, beautiful game. Great fun to play. Yeah, I was like heavy competitive in that. I played a couple of Cotes, never won one, but yeah,
Did you?
And then
do you have the
way back in the day, old Gork played Pokemon when I was in high school and
we all did.
starting March.
Yeah.
Old school Pokemon. So old Gork here got himself an invite to the World Champs in 2002.
What?
Wow.
So cool.
I'm the original Pokemon master of South Africa. Nobody knows it, but yeah, that's one of my little laurels I can in my geek hat.
Pretty cool, though.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
I still have my original collection that I worked up and built, and yeah, that was a lot of fun. Great times. I'm glad that the South African Pokemon community resurged and came back full from 2012 onwards. Pokemon card game became popular again. So I'm very glad for that. I'm not going to go back into it because I know how much money it costs to play a card game, because that's insane. But yeah, so now these days I'm just streaming and role playing.
Or an ambulance, actually.
So there's 2 questions in the chat. Malika says, I actually like chess, but it's been ages since I played.
Oh no. Hell has opened up again.
There's a bit of a ping flick here. For white, I played Bird's Opening, which is F3, pawn to F3, and for black, I would normally respond with Petrov's Defense. Those were my 2 favorite openings to play. The thing of chess is that there are a couple of openings that are very popular, very well played, very well analyzed. So for me, it was not a strong opening player. I was not a strong opening player, right? I had the opening repertoire to counter most other openings, but I played specifically openings that could not be countered. People did not know them, so they could not counter me, therefore giving me a little bit of an upper hand in the opening stages.
And Zerak Yuki asks, which clan do you like for L5R?
For L5R, I will and forevermore be a Crane Clan player.
Okay, I get that.
Which, people thought that because I'm Gork, I would go for the Crab Clan. But no, the Crane Clan stole my heart.
Indeed, I dig L5R. I have the new box set, but I haven't gone back to check out like the role-playing game and stuff. I really want to learn how to do the role-playing game.
Role-playing system is very intricate. I've played in a LARP twice, L5R LARP twice. That was like really intense. The political game is wow.
It's hectic.
Yeah, it's very hectic. It's L5R.
Yeah.
Where if you put your chopsticks down the wrong way on your bowl or next to your plate, it could be seen as an insult.
Insult. Legend of the Five Rings. It's a kind of like a Japanese style role playing game and card system. So there's ninjas and samurais and stuff.
With about 12 different types of clans, and each of them have their own culture, lore, background, history. And the Crane Clan specifically was a clan that went in search of perfection in all arts and forms of combat. So they were duelists and poets, and they had magicians, Asahina magicians, who were like elemental specialists. So that's what that was their spiel.
Yeah. Well, the really cool thing about L5R was that it was a living card game. So things that were happening in the world, like tournaments and stuff, actually developed the story, and that's how they built on it. Yeah. Which is really cool.
I mean, normally they had two major tournaments. The Kotei was your world, all around the world. Everybody had a Kotei tournament, and the winner of the Kotei tournament were given options, storyline options that he could choose to manipulate the world with. And I mean, they were amazing happenings because of storyline options. I love that, that you as a player could have such a direct impact on the game world. It was astounding. There was a couple of other storyline tournaments, of which at least one was a sealed deck tournament. And for those, I went full tilt. For some reason, the sealed deck tournaments I could easily win, but when it comes to constructed, I struggled against certain other players. Yeah. Very good super players in the community. I am not going to name names. They know exactly who they are.
Have you ever considered going into voice acting?
I would actually love to be part of to go into voice acting. I really do. Voice acting in South Africa, unfortunately, is very limited. And I don't know. It's very, very small. It's very limited in its capacity as well, unfortunately. There isn't a lot of work for a South African-based voice actor. Whereas overseas, there's lots and lots of work, but also lots and lots of aspiring voice actors.
Yeah.
Yes. Like there's like a local gaming company that is making a computer game or so. I would love to be able to get in on that, become part of the character voices. That is something that I can do in my capacity in South Africa.
I'd say speak to California, dude. They're always looking for good voice actors.
The guys who did
Boot Fighter.
Oh, yeah, that's a good suggestion.
Always looking for good voice actors. You fit in perfectly there.
And it's a start.
Thank you for that.
It's a good start.
Yeah, thank you very much for that advice. I will definitely be contacting them soon.
Yeah, we'll speak contact details. I'm sure.
Thank you very much. If you have, please, I will grab them with open arms. Thank you so very much. You guys are awesome.
What's your favorite tabletop game? Not your tabletop game, board game.
My all-time favorite board game is Caverna by Uwe Rosenberg. It's called Caverna the Cave Farmers. It's a worker placement game where you control a family of dwarfs and you have to mine out and furnish your cave as well as grow crops and farm animals or breed animals. It's a very intricate, very complex strategy game.
Dwarf Simulator, yeah.
Dwarf Simulator.
Dwarf Simulator, yes. What's that? Dwarf Fortress. This is Dwarf Fortress, the board game. Exactly that. That is my all-time favorite board game.
And second and third?
Second and third. Second would have to be Eldritch Horror, because of the co-op action.
Okay.
Eldritch Horror!
Yes! Most of the expansions, I'm missing 2 of them. But I love that game. I love it to bits. I love it to death. I don't play it enough. My wife is not a co-op player, unfortunately.
Dude. Oh my god, an epic game.
I love co-op games.
But recently, just before lockdown started, I bought a game called Tapestry. It's by
I've heard of that, yeah.
Jamie Stegmaier, the same guy that made Scythe. And it is fantastic. It is so fun to play. It is beautiful. It sells itself as a civilization game, but it's actually an engine building game. But the beautiful thing about the game is that by the end of the game, you have a great story of how your civilization developed over the years and over the eras and what technologies they brought to the world. It's fantastic. It's such a great way to go, cool, my civilization did this. And it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense every time. We started off by inventing fire, then we went into pirate rule. From pirate rule, we went into a trade economy, and from trade economy, we went into monarchism. What?
Okay.
Because we can.
So it's kind of like civilization.
It's kind of like Civ, yeah.
Yeah, like Sid Meier's Civ, yeah. Interesting. I think I might have to check it out.
Definitely do. I would highly recommend it.
We'll do that.
Definitely. So what's the latest book you've read, dude? Because I'm looking for some books to read.
Like I said, the latest book I'm busy reading is Anarch by Dan Abnett. It's the 15th book in the Gorn's Ghost series.
Okay, so out of that series then, what would be the first book you'll suggest to the viewers at the moment? Because
the very first book you should read in the series is the very first book in the series, Tanner First and Only.
Chronological.
It tells the story of how the Tanner First became ghosts.
Well, there you go. So that's the first book we should all start reading.
Yeah.
It is fantastically action-filled, blood-pumping scenes. You know, it is really balls to the walls. Awesome. If you love fast-paced action with great storytelling, can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong.
No, we came across the South African novelist up in Comic-Con, and I have yet to read his book.
It's stuck in storage.
Because it's stuck in storage in South Africa at the moment. But his book, I'm obviously going to talk about it when we have our own stream. But I started it. It was really interesting. So I'm not going to give anything away yet, so I'll talk about it later. But I think we should start supporting a bit more South African novelists, especially considering the fact that we're all South African. But
yeah,
from South Africa, any novelists that you could suggest to the viewers out there?
I am striking the biggest blank on the name. I know the author myself, actually, but I can't remember her pen name. I feel so terrible right now.
Is she from Sarah Blue Publishing?
Excuse me?
Is she from Sarah Blue Publishing?
From Sarah Blue.
I don't know. No. I'm looking quickly on her Facebook. I hop onto her Facebook now. Maybe I can find something here. Oh my word! Where's the reference? Why? Why can I not remember the bloody name?
Live researching.
Let me go to their blog. There we go. I'm on the blog. Here we go. I can definitely recommend her because her writing is brilliant, actually. It's Natalie Rivener.
Eh?
Natalie
Rivener. She is also part of a book, a short story compendium called Phoenix Fire. This is a brilliant book to read about, and it's all South African authors. It's all very good sci-fi and fantasy stories. I really, really, really recommend you go read it.
We'll do. When we're off stream, I've got someone that you might enjoy. So when we're off stream, I'll send you the details, and I'll see if she'll send you a copy of her book as well.
So if you went to sleep today and woke up in a fantasy or gaming realm tomorrow, which world would you want to wake up in?
That's a good question.
Obviously.
I'm not going to say the Warhammer Fantasy Universe because that is no.
You might not survive.
I like not being turned into a mutant by chaos magic for obvious reasons, or to not be abducted in the middle of the night by Skaven. No, okay, cool. If I have to choose a universe that I can quickly think of now, I would have to say the Pokemon universe. Actually, it's a fantastic.
Why?
Because it's safe.
Because you get to enslave creatures and battle with them with no repercussions.
Indeed.
I can only beat up on 10-year-old kids in the forest, and nobody would be ever the wiser.
Yeah, dude, if you're going to choose a universe with no repercussions, go to DBZ universe. You'll never die. The proof of the proof is in the fact that Goku never fucking dies.
Yeah, he always comes back.
But like, he's not going to wake up as Goku, though. He's going to wake up as Gork.
I'll be waking up as Gork. I'm telling you, I have my own Pokemon. I totally want a Snorlax.
Indeed.
Yeah, me and him can sleep together all day long and just chill.
Me and
blocking
Gork
the road and demanding money.
Me and Gork, same WhatsApp group. Yeah, same WhatsApp group.
I like Eve.
Eve.
The possibilities.
I am so very much a Meowth guy, especially when you upgrade the Meowthful or whatever the whole.
Yeah, the Meowth into a Persian.
Persian.
Meowthful.
Yeah.
Oh, Persian is so cute, dude. I've actually got one in Pokemon Go.
Oh, is it? Oh, nice.
Yeah, I upgraded my Meowth to Persian. Very cute.
Although Lanoon is quite cute as well, because Lanoon is my buddy in Pokemon Go at the moment.
Yeah.
Lanoon.
Nice.
I don't know that one.
I used to play Pokemon Go, but only for a very short time. I can't remember how to play it, though.
Not difficult, dude.
Malako says, for me, it would be Totodile because he's a little cutie.
Oh, he is a cutie pie. Totodile is such a noosh-noo.
Yeah.
My favorite starting Pokemon is actually Bulbasaur.
Crocodile.
I'm a grass type. And if I had to choose a Pokemon that I would love to have, and own for myself, it would be an Alakazam. Because they're just awesome.
We'll do anything for you.
I can actually, play board games against them and chess and all kinds of, mental games. And he would totally trash me because of his, intelligence level.
Superior intellect. Yeah.
Superior intellect.
Sleight of hand.
Man, I would actually be dead scared to have an Alakazam as a partner
I would be
in
as
the Pokemon
well,
universe, since they totally can dominate their trainers.
Yeah.
And emulate them as puppets. Excuse me, what dark fantasy universes are we talking about now? Man, there's some dark fucking shit lore in Pokemon that scares the hell out of me.
Yeah.
Fucking freak crap, man. You're like, what? I thought this is a cute cuddly thing, but instead it eats people's dreams. That's nice. I'll go cry now.
Ghost Pokemon stories.
Yep.
All right, so we have come to the end of this wonderful stream.
Unless Tunes has more questions.
Unless Tunes has any questions hiding away there.
I'm good for now. We can always have Gork on another time with another bunch of questions.
Exactly.
Yeah, guys, more than welcome to. I would love to come again and entertain you some more. And thank you very much for having me. It was an honor to be with you guys. It was awesome. I love you so much.
Nope.
We're not finished.
What's going on?
Wait, there's more.
You see, you jumped
You're
way
too
far
eager.
ahead of the gun, dude.
I'm sorry.
Okay, this is how it works. Gork, you need to plug the channel for us, dude. Tell us where our viewers and the viewers that are watching us right now can find you right now. If we had to go find you on stream.
Now, you guys can find me on twitch.tv/Gork2000. Can I enter that onto your chat?
Of course.
Yeah, sure, you can drop into the chat.
Go.
I think Kez will drop it as.
Kez could probably do that for you.
Kez is quite good at dropping.
Whoever's faster.
Boom, there you go. Gork did it for us.
I did it for you guys. If you guys would like to come see me stream and scream and shout and rage, then more than welcome to. That's what I tend to do.
He doesn't know what raging is. He thinks he rages, but he's barely a rager. He hasn't seen me in Gran Turismo yet.
I don't want to give you guys my salty side. It's ugly. But I have raged a couple of times on stream. I have.
Coming soon, role-playing streams
you need to witness
and kitchen
playing
streams.
Gran Turismo against other racers.
Yeah.
When the asshole comes up behind me and runs me off the road, then you'll see full-on rage and Zip Diffie rage. Not just any kind of rage, you'll see Zip Diffie rage.
Oh my! I totally almost lost my total cool when I was playing Hades, and like Feed was like, "What? The man is angry now. Let's clip it." I'm like, "Oh, thanks, Feed. You're the man. I love you."
Is there anywhere else we can find you?
I can find me on Twitter as well. Gork2001. Let me just quickly grab that for you as well. That's twitter.com/Gork2000 and then a 1 at the end. Like that.
There we go.
And it's pretty much my two main pages where I'm the most active on. I also have a Discord, but you can find that on my Twitch account itself.
Awesome.
Apparently, you can be very grumbly. It says, Gork can be very grumbly. I heard that while playing Scythe.
Yes, I was salty. I get so salty when I play the online Scythe game. Oh my word, I get so
Gork, I would love to jam a game against you. I really would.
Just to see if we can
You're more than welcome. You're more than welcome to. The Scythe board game online screws me over so badly.
Dude, I want to play Civilization against you, dude, just to see how angry you get when I actually just constantly pick your ass every single 5 seconds. Yeah, because I'm one of those. I like to send troops in and then go, peace. Peace.
I'm just passing through. I'm just passing through.
Yeah.
I'm going to attack one of your cities and then I'm just going to, stop.
I'll
destroy like a let's call for peace. That's me in Civilization because I love to press people's buttons. But anyway, Tunes, where can we find you, my bro?
Oh, you can find me all over the internet at Geekoscopy if you're watching on YouTube. But on Twitch, it might be reversed. So let's maybe
to do them all.
Is that one? No, that's not the right one. Which one is it? No,
carry on.
It's upside.
Where's your fish eye?
Why?
Where's your fish eye?
Where is my fish eye? That's a good question. Is it there?
No, upside down. You haven't got upside down.
Am I just turning things upside down? No, okay, there we go. That's one of them.
Fish eye is the right word now.
Oh, there we go. At Geekoscopy.
Awesome.
Right, all over the internets.
All right.
It's a running thing.
It's a running joke, just so you know. But when he stops at
this time I literally couldn't find it. I did because the layout was different. So I'm like, where is it? I was actually like, what is happening? And now I'm back. Yes, at Geekoscopy, all over the internet.
So anyway, thanks for that. All right, Angel, where can everyone find us?
Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok.
Awesome.
All the relevant social media, just so you know.
You guys cut it down now. You're specializing.
Tomorrow, you can catch ourselves, the SA Geeks, well, at least myself as Ziff Diffie from the SA Geeks, raging at Gran Turismo Sport because I'm going to be playing it again tomorrow, having some dumb shit running me off the road again.
But in the meantime,
we're going to send you off to Ruthie on fire.
She's playing Diablo.
You guys are going to get to watch her play Diablo. But yes, it is official. The SA Geeks are back.
You're glad for you to be back.
You'll see us live.
It's not time for you to die.
You will now see us live from now on because we've had a bit of a rough week last week buying cars and crap, but you'll understand later on. Guys, we're going to send you off to Ruthie on fire. Again, Gork, thank you so much for joining us. It's always awesome to have new guests. You've been awesome. Thank you so much
for having me, guys. It was really awesome to be here. I really appreciate it.
Dude, always. Tunes, you know how it goes. You know, without you, this wouldn't be a thing. So, us here at the, we're going to call it the Geek-Inspired Podcast for now, but also it's called the, oh my God, I forgot what it's called.
The Technical Difficulties Podcast.
The Technical Difficulties Podcast, yes. So, from us at the Technical Difficulties Podcast, we'd like to say one more thing. As always, remember.
Bye.
Good guys.